Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. This is your brother Sean Ali here, Supreme Health and Wellness by Sean Ali. And as always, family, I thank each and every one of you who tunes in. I appreciate you taking some of your very valuable time and then sharing it with me, with us. And as always, I pray that these brief words find you and your family and your loved ones in the best of your health and your wellness and the best of your life, man. And I pray that it is on purpose because life is on purpose. And when we are living and leading a purposeful life, we are truly living and leading a blessed life. And on that note, I want to share some information that will help us to be as healthy as we can or want to be so we can live and enjoy life as long as we would like and desire, right? And I take my lesson from this beautiful book, How to Eat to Live, book number 2 by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And in here, chapter 55, page 185, is a chapter entitled Digest Properly, right? And it goes to the root of how to eat to live, because this, when we're looking at these, at the title of the book, it's how, not what. So it's not talking about the foods, what particular foods that we can eat versus how to prepare the food, when to eat the food, how to chew the food, the science of the stomach and digestion, because this is the how part. And this is where we would either be successful or fail at, right? So, because we can eat the right thing in the wrong way. We can eat the right thing at the wrong time. So it's not always eating the wrong food that is the problem. Many of us eat the right food. We just don't know how to eat the right food to live. So this is this beautiful book. And in this chapter, it is significant because it goes directly into our anatomy, physiology, and our digestive system, right? And this says, if we expect to live from what we eat, we must be sure that what we eat is masticated so perfectly well until the stomach juices, which have no teeth, with its hot acid can digest the food without too much work. So this is the first chapter or paragraph, and we are getting a beautiful science lesson because a lack of mastication, chewing our food properly, a lack of mastication is one of the biggest problems. Swallowing big chunks of food, chewing too fast, not enjoying the meal leads to overeating, leads to indigestion, leads to ulcers, leads to other stomach problems, digestive problems, right? And okay, now it says the American eaters, I believe, when it comes to a human being, are the fastest of all on the earth in eating their food. On many work jobs, they are only allowed 15, 20, and 30 minutes to eat their food. Here goes food down the throat in wads that have never been chewed as it should, not allowing it any time to take on the nature of saliva, which attacks our food at the entering of the mouth to try to help it go down to the stomach, right? So we want to look at the science lesson. So we know that if we look at our anatomy and what it takes to digest food. So the first thing he talked about was mastication, right? And this is the mouth, right? And this is chewing, properly chewing the food. So when we look, and in the second chapter, he says, or the third paragraph, he says, on many work jobs, they are only allowed 15, 20, and 30 minutes to eat their food. Here goes food down the throat in wads that have never been chewed as it should, not allowing it any time to take on the nature, the saliva, which attacks our food at the entering of the mouth. So when we chew our food, right, we create the saliva, which it saliva is alkaline. So, and when he says it attacks the food, one of the things that it does to the food is it helps to at least neutralize or raise the alkalinity of the food. So when we swallow it, the food won't be acidic and destroy the lining and the cells of our esophagus. So when he says that we chew our food so fast that we don't give it time to take on the nature, we don't give it time for the saliva to do its job. Now, food plus saliva equals bolus. This is what goes down into the esophagus. So this is what we swallow, bolus. Bolus is alkaline. So when it goes down to the esophagus into the stomach, it won't destroy the esophagus. The stomach is acidic, right? The stomach is the most acidic environment in our body. So we want to go back because we want to break down this beautiful science book, right? And he says, now listen, all through our food's travel down the throat, it is being sprayed with this saliva. And down in the organ of our stomach, which scientists say holds about 1.5 pints of fluids, it is processed again with the same digestive juices, which are a little stronger than they get coming into this organ. Then it takes on a dash of gall and is distributed. Okay, I want to stop right there very quick. Now, the stomach is acidic. Bolus is what goes into the stomach. Now, coming out of the stomach, we have, when we swallow, the esophagus going into the stomach. Now we have this part of the small intestines is called the duodenum, right? This is going into what we're going to talk about next. The duodenum. Now, the food that comes out of the stomach is acidic. And when it goes in, hold on. And what comes out of the stomach is called chyme. Chyme is acidic. So in order to protect the food going into the small intestines where the extraction takes place, because this is all breaking down. All of this right here is a part of the catabolic. This is the breaking down of the food. Now we're ready to go into the absorption, the extraction of the food. So when what comes out of the stomach is called chyme. Chyme is extremely acidic. So now we have going into the duodenum. You want to pick up. He says now, and down in the organ of our stomach, which scientists say holds about 1.5 pints of fluids, it is processed again with the same digestive juices, which are a little stronger than that they get coming into this organ. Then it takes on a dash of gall, right? Okay, now, so this is what we're looking at. The gallbladder is right here. It's not connected to the liver, but it's situated right in where the liver is at. So when we're looking, the gallbladder sits right there. One of its job, and we have the pancreas right here. They're both right beside the duodenum. When the duodenum is what the stomach empties into. So the gallbladder and the pancreas, they're right there next to the duodenum. What they do is the pancreatic juices in the the gallbladder with the gall that it secretes, what it does is it neutralizes the acidity of the chyme. So when that food gets into the duodenum, the pancreas and the gallbladder, they neutralize the chyme. They raise the pH to 7. So now as that food is going into the small intestines, it's no longer acidic. So now it's ready for it to be absorbed by the small intestines so it can be distributed throughout the body. Now let's get back real quick. He says, then it takes on a dash of gall and it is distributed throughout our small intestines area to the big colon that looks like a frame running around running down from the right to the left. To hasten our meals down in these areas that were mentioned that make up the machination of our digestive system. Half masticated foods puts too much labor on this machination of our bodies, and it causes sores in the stomach and in the intestinal tract that are referred to as ulcers, and from ulcers to cancers. I want you to see how we destroy our own body. That's what he's saying. And this is the science lesson. This is a part of the poor diet that we were suffering from when he gave us the science of how to eat to live. So when we look at the next page, and he says, a man should chew his food, as many doctors teach us and agree with what is said here, until it slips away into the throat before swallowing. This is America's #1 cause of her many ailments coming to her. Fast eating, half chewing her food, and eating half-done foods such as half-done peas, half-done lima beans, and other beans, and half-done meats and breads. See, this is what one of the particular jewels in science lessons that isn't as popular with these beautiful books as it should be, because it's dealing with how we should eat our food for the best extraction, absorption, extraction, and then the removal of the waste. Because food will get, like he says, when we don't masticate properly, that's where most of our problems come at. We don't chew the food enough. So we are swallowing these big chunks of food that don't have a chance to be alkaline. The saliva doesn't have a chance to do its job. So when we are swallowing this, a lot of us, we are destroying our esophagus because we are eating these wrong foods. They aren't small enough, right? The bolus isn't alkaline. So we are destroying our esophagus and we are having problems with our esophagus. Then when we get into the stomach, because of these big products, the stomach is taking a long time to break down these foods because the stomach does not have teeth, right? And this creates ulcers, it creates other stomach problems, it creates holes, wear and tear. Now, that's one of the things that we suffer from. We also, when we are looking at this, and this can go into this alkaline acidic environment. When we swallow, or when we saliva is alkaline. So food plus saliva equals bolus. This is what is swallowed. It's called bolus. When we get into the stomach is acidic. So food plus the acidic juices equals chyme. This is what comes out of the stomach. Chyme is extremely acidic. So everything that comes out of the stomach is extremely acidic. It doesn't matter what it was before it went into the stomach. But in fact, saliva is alkaline. So one of the purposes of saliva is to raise the pH of whatever you're eating so it won't destroy your esophagus. When it gets into the stomach is acidic. It needs to be extremely acidic to finish breaking it down, right, into smaller parts. So now the pancreas and the gallbladder, their enzymes raise the or neutralize the acidity of chyme. So once it gets into the duodenum, this is where it's neutralized at. So now when that food goes into the intestines, it's ready to be absorbed and dispersed throughout the body to the liver and through the rest of the body, right? This is a beautiful science lesson. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching us this before the 70s. This is book 2 and it was published in 1972. So this means it was already being taught prior to 72. So we had this knowledge. And if we apply this knowledge, it will allow us to take minimal food and get maximum nutrient extraction. See, a lot of us, because we aren't eating right, chewing right, masticating right, we have these big chunks, so the body needs more to get nutrients because we're putting big chunks of food that the body can't absorb, and it's creating blockage. It's creating the body's holding on to it. This is where a lot of that gain is coming from. But when we are looking at this is a great way for us to eat to live, right? Because you would chew your food, you would start to masticate properly. He said chew it until it easily slides down your throat, right? And when I was in school, we were taught to chew our foods at least 26 times, right? You want to do it until it's easily slides down our throats. Give our stomachs as less work to do as possible. So it's not creating a bunch of gastric juices. Now, the gall, another way the messenger teaches us to eat no more than one meal a day. If you are doing this at breakfast, right? Lunch, dinner, snacks, right? If you're putting your body through this 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, we are destroying the digestive system. The messenger teaches us to be careful with the stomach because we can't replace that. Once we lose the stomach, we're basically going to lose our life. So we're looking at a lot of problems with the pancreas and with the gallbladder. See, the gall is reabsorbed from the large intestines, transported back to the gallbladder to be used again. So your body doesn't have an endless supply of gall or the pancreatic enzymes. So when we are eating breakfast and we use that, then we go through lunch and we're using it and it's not had a chance to be reabsorbed and brought back to be redistributed. This is where a lot of the gallstones and gallbladder problems coming from. Overusage. When we're looking at problems with the pancreas, that's where insulin is at. But if we are keeping the pancreas busy with trying to neutralize this food that we are constantly putting in our bodies, this is where a lot of the problems come from. Then we are looking at going into the intestinal problems. Eventually, we run out of the fluids that neutralize the food. So now we're getting acidic food into our intestines, and it's starting to develop ulcers and wear into the linings of the intestines. This is the side effects, that trickle down domino effect. right? But all praise is due to Allah. We had our Savior has arrived, man. You see the title? Listen, from God in person. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad had a third grade education. I went to college to learn this. Listen, in 2016, I went to college to learn what I just taught. But he was teaching us this without having going to college, man. He's breaking down, listen, he broke down scientifically the digestive process. The title of the chapter is Digest Properly. And if we do, because that's one of the major problems. We are fast eaters. We don't chew enough, right? It leads to overeating. It leads to digestive problems, indigestion, a lack of malnutrition, because your body can't absorb. So that you suffer from malnutrition. We eat the right things, but we don't know how to eat them to live. Woo! We got the right foods, but we don't know how to eat to live. So we are still suffering from disease, sickness, and premature death. Man, but all, like I say, all praise is due to Allah. We have a divine, fun, and easy solution, because the premise of these books is we strive to eat no more than one meal a day. See, when you eat no more than one meal a day, you give your body, you give these organs not only a chance to extract the nutrients, but to remove the waste and to be healthy and strong, to give you hundreds of years of life. Woo! Because when you lose this, you lose your ability to provide your body with the elements that it needs to maintain your own life. The quality of life diminishes. And then eventually we will lose our physical life. Mentally, you're sharp. Spiritually, emotionally, you're sharp. But the physical body is eroding because we don't know how to eat to live. We know what to eat. We don't know how to eat. Man, oh, praise to Allah. I hope what I said made sense. I was trying to make it as simple as possible. It is a simple process. The words that they name these things can be the complicated part, right? But it's an easy, simple process. This is how we can control and conserve our digestive system. And most of the digestive problems, this is where they come from. Most of the digestive problems, we can solve it with this one chapter, Digest Properly, because this is usually where we're losing it at. So it's not whether you're eating alkaline food. If you can't see, and that we have to look at this, the falsehood of of them saying you can manipulate your pH with what you eat. How? When everything that comes out of the stomach is called chyme. Chyme is acidic. That's what the pancreas does. It raises the pH of that food so that acidic chyme won't destroy your duodenum, and it won't go into the small intestines, destroying the small intestines. So when we're, like I say, when we're looking, that's where when the gallbladder sits there. So when that chyme is released from the stomach, the pancreas is right there. That pancreatic enzyme and that gall is released. Boom. Into the duodenum, and it neutralizes. And the pancreas has a natural connection right to the duodenum. And it neutralizes and raises the pH of the chyme. So when it goes into the jejunum, this is where most of the nutrients are extracted, this part of the small intestines, the jejunum. So when it gets here, and it starts to go because it goes this way. The food is ready to be absorbed. It's ready to be extracted and then dispersed to the liver and throughout our body. So I just wanted to come and share because these books are our life insurance policies, family. But you're not paying on your death. Listen, you don't buy these to say I'm preparing to die. You buy these to say I'm preparing to live. Woo! Listen, listen to me, listen to me. I'm gonna say that again. I'm gonna say that one more time. These are these life insurance policies. How to Eat to Live, Book 1 and Book 2. When you get these, you're not getting a life insurance policy to say, I'm preparing to die. You're getting the life insurance policies to say, I'm preparing to live. Woo! Because when God comes, he comes to take away death and give us life and life more abundant. But he cannot do this without regulating our dietary habits. So says the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Man, family, I just want to come and share how fun and easy it is for us to take control of our health, our wellness, so we can live as long as we desire to live, because that's the desire and goal of our Savior from God in person, Master Fuad Muhammad. Get your copies, www.noi.org, www.finalcall.com. Family, thank you all for tuning in. I'm your brother Sean Ali. I leave you in the spirit of love, peace, happiness, and of God, and some words of peace. I say, Namaste Hotel. Power to the people. Salam alaikum. Peace.